Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pails, steel-toe boots?
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jaylen.
Can I close it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
What in the world did we just witness? Bobby Manning, Jimmy Toscano, game 4. Whoa.
I can't believe I'm looking at my hair right now.
This. Yeah, toss it.
It should be this.
Honestly, burn them all. They forget it. Hard hats are canceled.
They're no longer for sale.
Hard hats are canceled.
After that performance, you don't get to put the hard hat on tonight. Nobody deserves to put the hard hat on tonight.
Yeah, Bobby might be the only person who watched the majority of this game, and he's got to run into the locker room here. So, Bobby, why don't you tell us a thing or two here?
Yeah, that was a no-show, effective no-show from them tonight. Is it because they celebrated too early? Is it because Kristaps couldn't get out there and play anything? Or is it because Dallas just poured it all out? I think all of us expected Dallas to roll over. They came out and threw a major punch. And the Celtics didn't handle it. It went from like 13 to 20 into the second to 30 into the third. And the game just got worse and worse. I think the worst part is that the Celtics kept making it worse for themselves. Turnovers. Holiday, a disaster in this one with the ball in his hands. Tatum and Brown, super ineffective scoring. 3-point settling throughout this one. And it all flowed into defensive mishaps. And what's worse, Derek Jones gets going. Daniel Gafford gets going. PJ Washington had some moments in this one. Lively gets going with a ton of energy.
Who are these guys?
So you basically, Exum off the bench had some moments in this one. So you woke up Kleber. You woke up pretty much everybody, every Mavs role player. And maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe there's a gentleman's sweep. But you gave them some life tonight. And they played with some life, Dallas did, certainly. So we're going to sit here and debate all night whether this is Boston just laying over or Dallas actually waking up here and showing something and being able to make this a little bit of a series. But this is not what you wanted to see here tonight.
Yeah. But you're going to make this Porzingis thing a thing, aren't you? I can tell you're already a little fixated on it, right?
I just don't get it. What was the plan? Roll him out at the end of the fourth and raise his hands?
He was going to go out there as a human victory cigar. We talked about this. Why? Because he deserves it. They wanted him to taste a bit of it. There's no, you're not leaving a guy off the roster playing him by suiting him up. And he would have trotted out there, ran around, put his hands in the air, gotten to play in the clincher and been happy. That's why he was there. He wasn't there to play. I mean, we kind of knew that. It wasn't. This is a non-thing. Don't make this a thing.
I just don't get it. If that's what it is, I guess I'll leave it at that.
The players are not concerned that Joe didn't play Kristaps even though he was on the bench. Everybody knew.
They're all in on it.
Yeah. Everybody knew his availability for tonight. This is not a thing. It's not a thing. Trust me. I'm telling you, it's not a thing. But as far as the Celtics, I'm a little worried. Not worried.
Oh, boy.
It's not worried. I'm worried about myself and what I said.
I'm worried about you, too.
Wait.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So one more thing on Porzingis. So is he just done for the series?
I think he is exactly what he is, which is I've never thought he's going to play in this series. I think if it's possible and you need him in a game 7, you throw everything you have out there because you're desperate. I don't believe he's playing. I never have. I don't think it has anything to do with this game at all. So I'm going to move off Kristaps Porzingis and talk about what happened here, because you did have no-shows from everybody who we spent all of this time gushing over and praising. And you know what? I'm going to take a portion of blame on this one, because I absolutely fawned over these guys in the beginning of the show, Jimmy, that I didn't think Dallas was going to lay down so much as the Celtics weren't going to let them up off the mat. I thought they were going to stay relentless, take on any barrages and punches they had, keep doing what they do, and just grind them into submission, because they were the superior team that makes them work on defense and makes them work on offense and just doesn't give anything up easy. And they didn't. What happened, Jimmy? They didn't.
No, they are who we thought they were. No, I
I'm
don't wanna
not
go that
jumping
far.
off a ledge, and I'm not
No, I know.
panicking. I'm just a little surprised. I didn't see this.
I thought. Listen,
I got robbed by a old lady, Jimmy, and I didn't see it coming.
she was in a motorized cart.
I didn't see it coming.
I wasn't. I thought they should have won this. You know, if you're like, oh, are the Celtics going to win tonight? Yeah, they should win. They're clearly the better team, and the way that they've been playing, you would have hoped that they could have continued that on. I thought if they lost, it would have been a competitive game, but maybe Dallas just had some pride and they pulled it off. I didn't expect them to go down like this because if they lose, okay, they lose, but it's like when you lose like this, then that's when like the fear and the doubt and like all those little things creep in a little bit more. It's like, okay, well, wait a second now. If somehow Dallas does pull off the win Monday, the momentum has completely shifted. They go back home where they just murdered you, and they could easily win at home again. And now it's like, whoa, wait a second. We're gonna go to a game 7 all of a sudden. I mean, obviously I'm jumping ahead, but that's where my mind goes. And I think that's where other Celtics fans who are, who struggle with PTSD like I do, I think that's where their heads go too. Now, the strong ones can stay in the moment and can say, okay, they lost a game. They played like trash. It's over. Let's leave it in Dallas. Let's go back to Boston and play the way we've been playing in Boston. Just keep doing that. Do that thing all over again. The crowd's going to be on their side. They're going to have, it's going to be the loudest game in the last decade. And, you still have every reason to believe they're going to win that game. But you just hate the effort that they showed tonight. You hate the stagnant. You hate the fact that the Mavericks just danced all over you, pumping their chest, dunking it. This team, I mean, I was following you guys all day, your coverage. Oh, the Mavericks didn't even show up today. They look so sullen and downtrodden.
Yeah, we gotta eat that one, John.
You guys got fooled. You guys fooled me, I'll tell you that. Because out of the way you guys were talking about it, the Celtics are in great spirits. They're bopping and booping and all around town. And they're all on the court and they're having a good time. The Mavericks didn't even show up to practice, it sounded like. And
one thing stands out to me there, Jimmy, and John was there this morning. Joe talked at shoot around, which is weird. That doesn't happen. And he was very serious, very intense.
That's what
everything was about focused details. He wasn't even answering questions. He was just saying the same thing over and over again. Very serious look coming in the building here too. You almost wonder if he just had that sense that, we're feeling it a little too much right now. We got to lock in here because you can't just show up here 3-0 and expect to walk out of this building with an easy win with Dallas just rolling over. He was very intense today, and it didn't work. He called 6 timeouts before the end of the third quarter. It didn't work. That neither of those things ever happens, John. So you just wonder if he had a little bit of a pulse of this team and could feel that they were getting a little bit of ahead of themselves here. I mean, there's no other explanation for this, right? This is the worst they've played in a month plus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that Joe deciding to talk today was because he wanted to inform all of us that he was concerned about the team. I just think they had a shoot around and he made himself available. But whether he sensed this or not.
6 timeouts before the end of the third.
I mean, it was obvious at so many points that they weren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. They went away from a lot of what had been working for them, and we're going to bring in Sherrod Blakeley, who I was sitting next to until I got so fed up by this game, I literally just walked to the concourse.
Did you leave?
For a quarter and a half.
Did you really?
I went down to the platinum level. They had much better food down there than up here on 300 where they have us. So if we end up back here for a game 6, which I hope not, that's where I'm using my voucher. I also got a piece of chocolate cake. And then I just couldn't listen to it anymore. I couldn't watch it. There was so much despair when they got locked on 25 points for like a year and a half. I had no idea. They were stuck at 25 points forever, and it just looked like they would never score again. I just didn't want to be there, so I left. I left Sherrod by himself, and he wrote his game article, and he had that thing ready to publish by the third quarter, and he probably did on his Substack. So, Sherrod, let's get your take here on what the happened?
It's hard to
Save
put
us,
this one in
Sherrod,
the words, but
save us.
the bottom. Listen, keeping it 100, they didn't show up. They did not show up. They thought they could just show up and Dallas would just roll over. And Dallas, instead of rolling over, they rolled over them. You had guys like Derek Lively, who looked like the Derek Lively that we saw in the Minnesota series and in some of those earlier playoff series. He had damn near a double-double in the first half. There was not enough multiple effort plays, not enough singular effort plays. Jason Tatum was in foul trouble. Jaylen Brown couldn't make shots. Jrue Holiday and Derek White were just – I mean, it was as if they had a Luka Doncic old-school defensive lapster where they couldn't stop anyone, couldn't make shots. Pretty much everything that could possibly go wrong for the Celtics went wrong in this game.
I hate to hear that cheering in the background. I wanted it to be like somber Dallas. John, you're muted. I can't hear you.
Sherrod's by the tunnel a little bit, so he's getting some of that right now.
No, I'm not saying it's bothering me. I just hate the fact that all those fans are so happy right now. That's
Sherrod, why are you doing this to Jimmy? Why are you making him sadder?
Yeah, sure. I thought we were boys.
Because Game 5 is we're going to remember this moment, and when Game 5 happens, and then the Celtics are bottle popping and going through all that back in TD Garden,
hey,
you're gonna remember this moment and things like, oh yeah, it wasn't that big a deal.
John, can I go to Game 5 now since they're coming back?
Yes. Whose credentials should I take? Bobby's? Bobby's got a lot of conspiracy theories right now. I'm a little worried to send him in there.
Bobby's head is somewhere else, so yeah.
It's Dallas. Dallas did it to him. The conspiracy theories here. Single,
I was over at JFK today.
First-person shooter, like everything's kind of. He's really looking for it here.
It sounds like players are talking already, though, so I'm gonna head over there and see what people are saying.
Okay, let's go get him, Bobby. Go get some sound. We're gonna hang out here.
Bobby. Get down to the bottom of this, Bobby. What the hell happened out there tonight?
There's a story we don't know.
Figure out what the hell happened pregame. Something's up. Something happened. Get down to it.
Okay, go.
This was sad. I mean, this was sad.
Bobby,
you knew Dallas.
I was hoping you guys were gonna get a win, go party a little bit.
He's really. I'm telling you, he's on this. He's on this Kristaps thing that he believes.
Bobby's on the scent.
He believes that the players were shocked and disappointed that Porzingis didn't play, and that might have taken something out of their sails. I'm serious. He's on that one. He's about
to find out.
You got to watch this guy.
Not buying that. Not buying that at all.
If he comes back with sound, I'll eat that one too. I'll do 12 apology cams tonight if I have to. I apologize. Sherrod, I apologize for being so positive.
Wow. You okay?
Look what I did before the game. I gushed. I delivered my what's the opposite of a eulogy?
Coronation. I don't know.
Yeah, something. Like a Celtics valedictorian speech. I don't know what it was. I gushed over them. I gushed.
Well, I mean, they had been doing everything that we had been wanting them to do forever. They took all their opponents seriously. They handled their business. I did not see them getting their ass kicked like this. There was a chance that they could lose, but I did not think that it would be a damn near 40-point.
It almost got to 50.
I know. I thought it was. I
wanted it. It was hilarious. Sherrod and I were literally laughing at each other.
All right, Dorian.
We were laughing. We're like, let's go. Get it to 50. The Pacers just kept it. We just kept hitting threes, and it almost got it was hysterical.
It was. I hope the Pacers just got it out of their system. That's not a good disperse of points for the series. If you're just gonna drop them all in one game, that's not gonna bode well for you for the other games. That's what I'm hoping happened here. They got hot one game. They rode the momentum of the crowd. They didn't fully embarrass themselves. They can feel good about going back to Boston and losing in 5 games. That's what I'm hoping happens here. Did Luka do anything differently, guys? Did Luka take the criticism to heart? Or
Jimmy, well, defensively he was better. I think he was definitely better. But the bigger thing wasn't so much Luka, but it was the other guys that were making shots early on. I mean, PJ Washington, lively around the basket. Derek Jones made a shot or two. Dante Exum was knocking down shots. I mean, those were the guys that allowed them to kind of push that lead out early on because Luka really wasn't that impactful early on. And he just kind of did what Luka does and get a bucket here, a bucket there. But those guys were the ones that I thought really set the tone for Dallas to kind of put some cushion between themselves, which is not all that surprising because, as we know, guys tend to play better when they're at home.
Let me ask you guys a question. Raise your hand if you thought the Celtics effort wasn't there tonight. Okay, raise your hand
I
if you
raised
did.
2 hands.
Raise your hand if you didn't love the process and the way they went about things. Me? Do you know who disagrees with you?
Bobby,
This guy.
Joe.
Issue at all? And when did you see that you guys just didn't have it? Because it seemed like no one across the board played well.
I mean, I don't know. Always in situations like this, it always goes back to us. But you got to give Dallas credit. They played well. They played really, really well. And that's the reason why that they're in this is because when they play like that. So I thought they just outplayed us.
Jared on the right.
Jared Weiss, The Athletic. We've talked a lot about the metaphor of like the chokehold in UFC fighting and trying to make sure that you finish the submission. Now that you guys were literally in that position, like actual title on the line, chance to finish it out, it didn't work. Why do you think all that preparation didn't work in this moment? And how did you guys try to work through going back to your principles there?
Yeah, I mean, I think just preparation doesn't guarantee an automatic success. And so I thought we had a great process. I thought we had a great shoot around. I thought we had a great film session yesterday. I thought the guys came out with the right intentions, and I just didn't think it went our way. And I thought Dallas outplayed us. I thought they just played harder. So, you have to prepare to put yourself in the best possible position, but it doesn't guarantee anything. And so at the end of the day, we got to just maintain our process and get ready for Game 5.
Well, part of that process is preparation, is making sure you're ready to go. That's part of the process. And they did not execute that part of the process. They did not play with the kind of effort that you should have when you're this close to putting a team away. The analogy that he likes to use, the MMF's chokehold, they let them off the mat. They had them right where they want them, and they let them off the mat.
Yeah, and that bite doesn't bother me much. This wasn't like you obviously saw one thing and something else happened.
Right.
Yes, Dallas played well. Yes, Dallas made the Celtics play poorly. And yes, also the Celtics just couldn't buy a bucket, even good shots early. And then I do think that they started to force like crazy. It's that you're down 1 million points and you're trying to get it all back in one shot. And they kind of got out of their process as things went on. And I think Joe saw it because he called 100 timeouts because he just kept seeing them not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then eventually he took them all out of the game because they just weren't doing it. And it did get bad and they got whiny and complainy. Brown was a no-show really in the entire first half. Tatum, got some scoring going early, but then he just, it didn't go well, and he was really, really, really forcing the issue. And Joe's not going to go out there and slam his players, but again, to Bobby's point earlier, he was wondering if Joe maybe saw something he didn't like. No, he didn't. And Jimmy, when I'm saying like they looked confident, they looked relaxed, like they were just saying the right things, they were acting the right way. It didn't feel loose, and that's how they felt before Game 3 as well. Like really, really kind of the same sort of vibe with them. Like, we know we're good. We just got to go do what we do. And then they did it in Game 3. And you felt, especially when they went down early, and you're like, they got it, man. They're committed to the process. And they were. And it felt like it. So, again, a bit of a perfect storm, I think, there where all of that stuff happened. And instead of coming back from that 13-point deficit, it just kept getting further out of reach and further out of reach. And they could never get there. And then, as we said, they just couldn't put the ball in the freaking ocean. And at that point, despair set in. And I think it was just, that's it, done. They got frustrated. I agree. It wasn't a total no-show. They were disconnected and sloppy, and then nothing fell.
And
it
then
wasn't,
at some point,
they
it's
weren't
like,
walking around all game. I don't think that's the case.
no, they weren't walking around, but did they fall back in the habit of the shots aren't falling, like woe is me type deal? Because
They definitely got frustrated.
yeah, there was some frustration
And
there.
the
I think
defense wasn't great. They were disconnected.
I mean,
They
this
were
game was
allowing Dallas
over
to
in
do things.
This game was over in like 2.5 quarters. It felt like. I mean, you
No,
can't
I-
even count. You can't
first
even
half.
count the fourth quarter. Yeah, I know. So it's like they didn't even have enough time to not show enough effort. Like it just happened. So, like from what was it, like midway through the first quarter to like it took like 18 basketball minutes for this game to end, which is kind of wild how quickly it all kind of happened.
Yeah, and there was look. Then the refs frustrated them. It was a weird, inconsistently called game, and I think the series has been inconsistent as well.
The
So,
extenda.
and look, Scott Foster's very good at what he does, and like it was the Celtics might have gotten some ticky-tack stuff called on them, and maybe the Mavs got away with being a little bit more physical with the Celtics, and that frustrated them as well and knocked them off their game some. I'm not putting this all on the extenda But there's a reason why he does what he does and he shows up when he shows up. But I don't complain about refs. I don't make the refs the thing. I just think the way the game was officiated certainly got into their heads a little bit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's the problem. That's a problem because
when they see Foster, do they think the same thing we think? Like, oh great, like here comes Scott Foster. Like to hear.
Dallas must have been like,
nice.
you know, like
here we go. That's our guy.
Yeah. Sucks.
So,
it sucks.
But the good news though about that is that he will not do Game 5.
Yes, really.
This
comment is bizarre. Literally everybody knows that this is a thing. It's like it's such a thing that it's like almost like trite to even mention that it's a thing. But anyway, it's not the reason the Celtics lost the game here.
If you're an NBA official getting an NBA Finals call, it's pretty well like you're considered a good referee. Like they're not putting in the B squad for the freaking NBA Finals.
They know what he's doing. He knows Scott Foster has a job to do.
Yeah.
You know,
and he's consistent with doing his job.
Yeah. Anyway, again, officiating's not the reason they lost this game, but it definitely got into their minds a little bit for this thing, for the way it was being called. But really, it was just they just couldn't hit a freaking shot. They just couldn't hit a shot, and they lost their process a little bit. And I think the Mavs were pretty good at like understanding what they're going to do, and they packed the paint like crazy. The thing that happened here was the blow-bys weren't as prevalent as in games past, and give Luka his credit. He did some defense tonight. He did a little defense. He did.
Yeah, and they allowed him to be a little bit more physical. And to his credit, he did a much better job of not putting himself in bad positions where it becomes an obvious foul. He, for the most part, stayed between the ball handlers and the rim. Even though there were some non-calls that you could have technically made a call against him, but the bottom line is there was a certain consistency about his defense in this game that was not there in games 1, 2, or 3. So it'll be interesting to see how the Celtics respond to that in Game 5.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. This is basically what I said here. It's we know what Scott Foster does. That's not why they lost the game. They were god awful on offense, disconnected on defense. Game got so far away from them, they got frustrated, and then just never made an effort to get back into it. And that's that. And Jimmy, mine and Jimmy's prediction of Celtics in 5 is still hanging on here, and we feel pretty good about it. Here is we got Sam Hauser in the locker room right here talking about what kind of lessons were learned about
talking about why Porzingis didn't play.
Bobby, not at the ceiling.
Honestly, just beat us. What do you take from it? It's a learning lesson for sure. Got to show up and show out every night. They're not going to roll over. They're down 3-1 now. Like they're desperate, so they're not going to roll over. They're not going to make it easy on us.
How much will you think about this, watching the film, and then gear up for Game 5?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll break it down and learn from it, and take what we need to get better at and carry it on to Game 5. Be better. But,
Sam, nobody wants to lose a game on the road anywhere, obviously, but now you're going back home in front of your home fans. Is there anything you can take from that as far as getting ready and preparing for Game 5?
We got to approach it like any other game in this series, honestly. Whether it's home or away, we just got to be ready to go.
Was there anything different pre-game that you could sense?
No. I thought we were all ready to go. And obviously, it didn't really go our way tonight. And I don't think it had anything to do with our pregame.
After a night like tonight, what would be the feeling of getting back out on that court as soon as you can?
Can't wait. Wish we could do it right now.
Yep.
I'm glad you have a night off.
Sam is pissed. Sam is pissed.
Sam's who we talked to at shoot around. He was raring to go.
He was ready to go.
He kind of showed up. He showed up a little bit tonight.
He did.
He tried.
Yeah. His defense wasn't quite as good as it's been the first 2 or 3 games, but
he made competed. A freaking shot.
Right. And he competed. That's the thing about it. I didn't feel like he was out there that he wasn't giving great effort when he's out there. It didn't always work out for him, but the effort was definitely there. I can't say that for most of the guys on this team. It was just a weird game. Not necessarily because they got their asses kicked so badly, but because with so much on the line. I mean, this was like the last hurdle to get that only goal you set for yourself all season, and you crapped out. You played you played your worst game of the postseason.
Got to be the worst loss up 3-0. It's got to be like up there.
It's up there,
like,
yeah.
Like point differential wise, like in the NBA, like if you're up 3-0 in a series, how many teams have lost by 38 points?
Right.
Probably not many.
Not many. No.
Damn.
No.
So
yeah,
this that killer mentality that again they've had it. They've had it this year. I'm not gonna go completely 180 on my feelings about this team. But this was unlike them. This was unlike them. You know,
so
and Jaylen Brown even talked about it. Like everyone keeps saying, you know, bringing up the past. Like we're a different team now. Well, okay, but this was like
that hurts.
This was shades of Celtics past.
That hurts them a lot, Jimmy. I agree there because, you know, this is where we're going to get a little stuck, right? Does everybody get one of these? Have other teams laid eggs on big stages? Yes. Have they done it and come back and played well and won? Have they done it and won titles? Yes. But you want to shut those narratives down?
Yeah.
Then you can't do this. Like, you can't do this. Like, there's a lot of people like, do great teams lose by 50? And the answer is honestly yes, but it's still weird. It just, I mean, I said this earlier. Thank God
Thanks
it's Friday.
Super chats, guys.
Thank you very much. Amazing. You are amazing. And thank you, Veli Velvel. If you can't play defense, look, I get it. I think there's an element of officiating here that's worth acknowledging, but again, I'm not going to go all the way there. But I said it earlier. Thank God, guys, it's the weekend and we don't have, you know, Felger and Stephen A. and these guys, you know, nonstop.
Give me more Felger. I like Felger.
Look, I mean, it's not like we're adverse to throwing out a hot take from time to time too, but like it's gonna be like they're the same losers from before, and I
can't do it.
I can't do it. I can't.
Brown and Tatum can't play together. Break them up. Get rid of them.
If any team could lose 4, it's them. I can't do it. I can't. Celtics all the way. I can't.
Celtics all the way. Please, I hope we finish the Mavs on Monday. But go to Game 7, I have no hope in us winning that game. Maybe I'm panicking too much, but this team loves letting go of leads way too much.
You are panicking too much because this isn't reality. Not this year. It's not this team. And I'm sorry, it's not the case. They've been terrific in the clutch throughout the entire playoffs. And they have, you know, done the whole they lose this game last year thing a ton this year where they pulled out wins that in the past they would lose. So no, it's not the same, but pressure definitely shifts now to these guys because this isn't where you wanted to be with this. We're going to hear from Al Horford in just a second. And we're going to get some more guys on the show as well. We want to let you know, again, you've got another chance in the Celtics. Yes. We got another chance here to get involved with Prize Picks. We thought, hey, you're done with the NBA Finals and Prize Picks right now. You're not going to be able to get there because it was going to be wrapped up tonight. It's not. You can jump back in here. How will the Celtics rebound? Get in on the action with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. More than 5 million members. It's the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players, even when all of them would have hit less tonight. You pick more or less on every player projection, and let's look at, it's less. Less on Celtics was the play. Less on everything today. Less fun, less champagne, less excitement, less everything, less points. You can, you turn 10 into 1,000. 2 to 6 player stats is all you need. You can get in the action. When the hoops and the finals are done, and we hope that they're done on Monday, you can jump right on over to WNBA and a lot of other sports. Prize Picks is always in play here. So again, download the app, get involved here. All you have to do is use that code CLNS, and you will get a first deposit match up to 100. Once again, download the app. First deposit match up to 100. And This happened. This happened for real, and we know people who did it. People used the Game Time app to get, and we said it, Jimmy, get your asses out to Dallas. It'll be cheaper to fly here and stay.
Did they do it?
And a lot of people did. There was quite a bit of Celtics.
They should have been rewarded by doing
There was some Let's Go Celtics chants here as well. I saw a lot of people in my hotel coming in with Celtics gear that day. It was really buzzing. So I think a lot of people did think that this was happening here. You got another chance. It's gonna be pricey though. So Game 5 clincher at home. 2008 was a clincher at home. They got a chance to do it again here in Game 5. So what do? You go to Game Time. It's the best way to get into the NBA Finals. Makes getting tickets faster and easier. The prices go down closer it gets the tip off, but this market's going to be pretty hot, so you want to take advantage of this deal if you can, because every dollar helps here. If you want to get in and see the Celtics, take home banner 18. There are killer last-minute deals. Prices will go down the get closer you get. Panoramic views from your seats. But what are we talking about? You guys know what everything looks like in the Garden. You've been there before. When you go there, wear your hard hats. Jimmy's going to tell you how to get those because we have to keep restocking. Hard hats are out in full force. I want you to buy one, and I want you to wear it to Game 5. Getting a ticket on the Game Time app, nothing would make me happier. So again, all you have to do, download the app, create an account, use the code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create the account and put in that code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. You're going to need it. It's going to be a hot ticket. Game Time is your ticket into the Garden for Game 5 of the NBA Finals, potentially a clinch situation. Let's hear a little bit more from some of the Celtics here. Who are we going to hear from? Al? This was.
You gotta go to the merch store to get your hard hats, though, John.
I did not mention this, but I will tell you that I didn't say this prior to the game. I was a little concerned. This was the first game of the finals that Al Horford had to play on only a single day's rest. And they played a hefty load before, and he has not been good in this case. He was there. He did not much of a factor. Definitely, a culprit for, Celtics getting beat up on the boards. He wasn't, free for his threes, didn't make the same impact. And yeah, he got beat up on some of the switches this time, a little bit more so than he had in games past. Is this straight up old man stuff? You never know, but he's definitely better with a little bit of rest than he is in this scenario. So it wasn't a great night for Al. Here is Al talking about, let's see what he is talking about tonight, and then what they need to do to bounce back.
That doesn't linger into the next game?
Yeah, that's a good question. Understanding that it's one game, after we won game 1, we put it behind us. Game 2, kind of same thing, and so on. And we're at this point now, and we have to take some things that we can be better at and try to fix them, and then others kind of throw them out and just kind of do that and make sure that we come out and we play Celtics basketball. I think ultimately that's what it comes down to us, and and there's a lot of things that we can control, and that I expect us to be much better on Monday.
I can't hear you, John.
I'll stop talking.
I'll stop talking. He just stopped.
Yeah, he did stop.
He just stopped in the middle of a sentence. What's wrong with Al? Finish the game.
Finish your sentence. Finish the game.
Finish.
Damn.
Half-ass shit. Anyway, yes, I'm expecting a garden party here on Monday. That's fun. One of the best things for those who were in the building in 2008, it was cool because it was a blowout the entire fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was still party.
And it was just people smoking cigars and hanging out and standing and high-fiving. No attention to the game. But it went from like 25 to 30 to like 50 with garbage time buckets that people were just going crazy over. So it was so fun. Sherrod, I might be able to hear myself in your background a little.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Little echo coming through. Yeah, some.
I can't hear it.
Okay. Anyway. So yeah, we're hoping for a garden party here, but I didn't want to have another one of these guys. The Wii didn't play well. We had another Wii game. I don't like those.
Well, I mean, it's yeah, but That's the thing about this one, though, John. There was literally no one other than maybe Sam Hauser who didn't fall into the "we sucked" category. I mean, they all sucked, from Joe to Jaylen to Tatum to anyone who stepped on the floor pretty much did not get the job done, and that's disturbing. But you have to keep in mind that the likelihood of the Celtics having back-to-back games like that is very small, and conversely, the likelihood that Dallas is going to string together two really good games where others besides Luka and Kyrie are making significant contributions, that happened tonight for the first time in the series. And I'm not convinced that that's going to be something that they can galvanize and use going forward. I fully expect them to handle their business in Game 5. I think there's going to be a little bit more of focus on the details. I don't think effort is going to be an issue in Game 5, and if effort is not an issue, I just don't see how Dallas, no matter how well they play, can beat this team if they are locked in and focused the way we've seen them for the better part of this postseason run.
John, you're muted again.
I got Josue Pavon maybe ready. I need a thumbs up or someone to put it in the chat if he's ready. Okay, he's ready. Good. We're bringing in Josue. What's going on, Josue? Give us your take.
Oh man, look, the Dallas Mavericks from the out rebounding the Celtics flat out, like plus 21, second chance opportunities. Defense in transition was weak for the Celtics. I mean, the Dallas Mavericks essentially punched these guys in the mouth, and Celtics just didn't know how to respond, it seemed like. Or the way that they were trying to respond just turned into turnovers and guys just trying to find their offensive rhythm that just never happened, And it wasn't just Luka, and it wasn't just Kyrie. Obviously, they were, the ones leading things, especially Luka. This was a heck of a game for him. I just thought their defense was just that was a version of the Mavericks defense that I haven't seen this entire series, and it played a big part in disrupting the Celtics. Luka, believe it or not, putting effort on that end of the floor, which I expected, and he took it up another notch. Close out 3-pointers, getting in White's face. There were so many instances throughout this series where there was time that he could have done that, and he would just watch Derek, or he would watch someone blow past him. Not in this game, and I think that everyone sort of did their part in hitting some big shots. Guys off the bench, Lively was tremendous, man. Some of those second chance opportunities and rebounds and putbacks really damaged what the Celtics were trying to do, in a sense of just try to find an offensive rhythm, string together some stops, and they couldn't do it. I mean, Sam Hauser was like the only guy who was efficient out there, found his shot early and often, but everyone else just struggled, lagged. It was a disappointing effort for sure. I mean, the Celtics haven't looked like that in a very, very long time, and it was their worst performance of the postseason for sure.
Josue, make us feel better. Tell me something that's going to comfort
the Celtics won't do this again. Like, that's the thing about these guys. They always bounce back when they have performances like this. Ice cold shooting, especially, I don't think that carries over. But look, the Dallas Mavericks, man, they have nothing to lose. They're going back to Boston with nothing to lose. No one's expecting them to still win this series. Luka Doncic saying that he's doing his absolute best to get other guys involved. And it took a little bit of something from everyone, right? Whether it's Dante Exum, Lively off the bench, Tim Hardaway. Listen, I know it's garbage time, but that's the kind of stuff that definitely carries over for a shooter like Tim, like Tim Hardaway, who hasn't made a three since like May 19th or something like that. He made a bunch of them out here, and the crowd got into it. The celebrating and all that stuff. Again, these guys have nothing to lose, but the Celtics, there's no way you see that type of effort in Game 5.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you say that, Josue, because that's my concern.
Do you believe me, Jimmy, though?
I do believe you. I choose to believe you. I choose to believe in this team. I stopped doubting them a while back, even though a lot of people still do and did and probably will after tonight. This could just be a little blip. That's my hope, is that this is just a little blip. If the Celtics take care of business Friday.
It's a long overdue blip.
If the Celtics take care of business Monday, we're never even going to talk about this game. It would be like it never happened. So that's my hope.
Tim Hardaway Jr. is so far down the list of things I'm worried about right now.
I'm not worried about it, but here's my question.
I'm not worried about it, but they got someone off the bench now, John.
Watch out. Make sure you don't wake up Steve Mihalik here too. You don't want to. You want to wake him up.
A lot of people are saying that Tim Hardaway Jr. should have.
There's a reason he doesn't play, guys. It's not like Jason Kidd discovered tonight. Like, oh shit, I should have been playing this guy. There's a reason he hasn't been playing.
Yeah, but you act like he's like you act like he's like historically bad. He just had a really bad second half of the season.
I just think if after you've lost 3 games in the finals and you really needed to throw a Hail Mary and try any different combos, and he hasn't played a freaking minute outside of garbage time, then he's not in their plans. That's
right,
what
John.
I think.
But they've turned to him like we talked about in pregame, when the way he turned to Exum, the way he turned to Hardware. It took 2 or 3 possessions for Jason Kidd to be like, oh my gosh, I'm scared. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. He had to go away from that. He had to play these guys. And yeah, Tim Hardaway was still sort of in the doghouse, but Dante Exum, man, he really got these guys going in sense of energy, just something that they needed off the bench.
They tried Exum and Hardy early in game 3, and they're like,
Hardy
nope.
as well. Yeah.
They tried them, and good. Try them again. That's what you want. Go ahead. Put these guys in and expect this out of your role players again. I'm praying.
Why not? Their bench stinks. They might as well.
I'm praying that's what they do next game is, put it on the hands of those guys and see if they repeat this type of performance. That shit never happens. In fact, that's just my belief. Rather than be confident because they got this out of them this time, I'd be super confident they'll never repeat this. So, go to those guys. Go to Exum early and often in game 5. See what happens. That's at least my take on it. We could be wrong. Maybe they woke up a sleeping giant. I'm not sure. Here's Jrue Holiday about who the hell knows what. He was bad.
About not letting things filter in about having an opportunity to win a championship tonight. Do you feel that played a role at all in terms of what we saw out there?
I think winning is hard. I think winning any game is hard, but winning Game 4 of the NBA Finals is pretty damn hard. So, no, I think they came out desperate, and I think they punched us in the mouth, and we couldn't kind of recover the way we wanted to.
Facts.
Again in the front.
Jrue, in your experience, how can such a massive win give momentum to a team like Dallas, and how do you slow them down?
I guess a massive win would be, I don't know. I think role players came in and they felt good. Obviously, they're at home, but things that we have to control, we will do our best to do that and come back at home and do the best we can to win.
Where do you see the series at this point? Is the opportunity obviously still there for you guys?
I think the series is
3-1.
3-1 going back to Boston.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep it simple, Jrue. Keep it simple.
Back with Josue Pavon. Guys, I'm just letting you know, I'm not blocking moderator. I'm not blocking people. Is this guy's just going to walk right there? That's just how it's
for real.
Go?
Yeah, that's how he feels. I literally gave him a damn. It's all right. Go ahead. He didn't know I was on.
It's fine. The microphone and you sitting there, that didn't cue him.
The arena's not big enough. That's where he chose to walk.
Oh, look, a fan is up in the stands with a microphone. What the f is that guy doing?
I wonder who he's talking to.
He could have literally walked anywhere else in the entire arena. He's like,
we're listening to Jrue.
Up there.
We're listening
There's
to
like
Jrue.
12 of us left. It's like he's walked through one of the 12 guys left out here. Oh my God. Anyway.
He's on his way. He's on his way to my place. He's gonna walk. He's just gonna walk by here next.
Guys, real quick, I'll let you know because there's some people in the chat who are mad about stuff. Like, I'm not gonna spam. I'm not gonna block somebody for being annoying or bothering Celtics fans. But don't spam the chat. I'll tell you that. Spammy is bad. Also, just don't be an asshole because I'll get rid of you there too. But
those are the 2 rules, pretty much. That's it. Yeah.
But you can be a bit of a you can be a bit of a troll. I don't mind if some Dallas people leak in here and start giving us shit. We can take it, right? You can take it.
You got to be able to take it. You
Absolutely.
got to be able to take it.
This is
I mean,
their victory quarter lap.
Where have they been? But all right, that's fine.
Yeah, this is their victory quarter lap that they can take right now.
We got this.
Y'all got one.
Where are we right now on the panic meter, guys?
Nowhere.
I don't like that panic meter. I like the one that's a video where we can look at our faces.
I'm not even
nothing changes.
Gonna put myself on a panic meter right
I'm
now.
not even on the panic
Be
meter.
like Jrue Holiday. Be like you heard Jrue Holiday just now.
We should all be that cool.
Does he look concerned? Does he sound concerned? He's the same. Doesn't matter if he won game 4 or lost game 4. That's probably how he would have sounded up there in the stage. So we got to take a page out of Jrue Holiday's book. Just everyone get your 8 hours tonight. Don't lose sleep over tonight's loss.
Is it okay if I
Take
eat?
some time. But you're gonna anyways.
Thank you.
As long as it's not like chips. Remember when Jimmy used to do
You
that?
you can mute yourself so I don't have to hear you chew the whole time. Just what you want to do is hear
I feel like
hear
the host is like the one person that can't eat.
the
though,
gum
but
smacking.
Let's see if John can pull it up.
Cake.
God.
Chocolate cake.
Cake?
Just
You
what
have cake
just
here? I
what you
didn't
need.
see that.
I'll tell you this: if we end up back in Dallas, pro move.
Oh, John.
Go on to the
Don't
second
say
level.
that.
Go on to the second level. They got much better eats there. That's where the classy people hang out. And I went there. That's the
Okay.
platinum level with all the sweets and stuff. And I was like, holy crap, yeah, I'll take some cake. And you know, they treated me like royalty down there. It was great. So yeah, bad, all sorts of bad all around.
All kinds of bad, yeah.
All kinds of every single bad. I'll tell you what's not bad. HelloFresh. Yeah, I shouldn't be eating cake at 11.
That is not bad at all.
But you can get down with some healthy meals here with HelloFresh, valued partner of us here at the Garden Report. And what is it? You should know. And I'm sure you've tried it before. It's farm fresh, pre-portioned ingredients, seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. That's why it is America's #1 meal kit. Makes home cooking fun and easy. Look, some of you guys like to cook. Some of you guys like to cook but don't have the time. And some of you don't like to cook at all. This can work for all of you, okay? It's, you know, super easy. You don't have to do meal planning.
I love to cook with HelloFresh.
It's all done for you. It's right there. It's pre-portioned out, sent to your door. You pick the recipes. You can customize them. You know, cut down on time spent both in the kitchen and the grocery store. It's the summer. You want to be on the go. HelloFresh makes it easy. You know, you can take it free. You book a week on the Cape, send some HelloFresh down there. Why not? Totally fine. Again, it helps you reduce food waste too. That's the best thing. Josue loves it because he knows what happens.
thing?
He knows what happens when you buy a bunch of cilantro and you only need a little, you know, you toss it. And here you don't have to do that. So again, you get the summer menu right now, and you get a really, really, really good deal. You go to
I love this video.
HelloFresh.com/garden apps for free appetizers for life. One appetizer item per box while the subscription is active. Free appetizers for life when you go to HelloFresh.com/garden apps. Free appetizers. That's HelloFresh.com/garden apps. Get in on it now, guys.
What's
Get
your
in
favorite
on it.
appetizer
In the world?
in America? Yeah,
In
the world.
America?
Yeah,
That's a tough call, Jimmy.
favorite appetizer.
I mean,
Like-
it all
like you know, you open up the menu. What do you want to see? Like, what do you want?
but it all
I
depends
want
on the
calamari. Calamari. That's what I want.
Okay,
It all
fried
depends on the
calamari with a
place.
little marinara.
No. It depends on the place, Jimmy, for me, because it's got to be, if I'm at a steakhouse, I like to eat, like, you know, things like carpaccio and raw, like
I'm not talking about steakhouses. We're not
oysters and
talking
things
about
like that.
steakhouses.
But if you're in like a little bar and grill sort of situation,
Yeah,
you're looking at the whole menu.
You're at the nines. You're at
Oddly
the
enough,
99.
if I'm just going straight bar apps, I only get wings at like places that have great wings. Bad wings really make me sad, but I'm such a sucker for and I don't order them often. I'm such a sucker for potato skins. I freaking love them.
Wow, you're the
Lo-
guy.
I
you're
love
the one.
potato skins. I do.
So you're going like cheese, sour cream, bacon on the skin. How are we doing it here?
I could have them a lot of different ways, but yes, I love a good potato skin. I really do. I like potatoes a great deal. But you can do the whole thing. You want to make a little nachos out of your tater tot situation too. I can get down with that. I prefer that to chips, no doubt about it. But wings have to be perfect. I only go to like 2 places for wings, and I'm not going to order them at any place because they come out crappy, and I'm pissed off, and then the whole meal is ruined. So I don't do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Let's move off. Let's move back to the game. What's
Someday
yours,
I'll
Jimmy?
give you mine.
we'll
No,
give it to
I'll
you.
do it later.
No, now.
Later. It'll take too long. It'll take too long.
It will.
It'll take too long. I got to think
Okay.
about it. I got to think.
All right.
I don't even have the answer.
Let's get over to it again. What happened in Game 4? Do you think it was which of the two things was the bigger thing? Was it the mental? Bobby and Josue, you guys want to join us? Thumbs up. Let's bring them both on. Guys,
Buffalo wings are the go, by the way. Just want to get that out there.
Great. Buffalo wings are great.
Yeah,
But,
you're right. Bad wings will ruin my day. That's a good call.
Most people
Bone
mess.
in.
It's like chocolate chip cookies. Like, they're obviously the best cookie out there, but most people screw them up, and that's really annoying too. Anyway, what happened? What's the primary takeaway? Was it lack of readiness? Because now you guys have talked to them. What are they telling you in there? Were they not ready for this thing, or as Joe put it, they came out, they did their thing, they tried hard. Dallas tried harder, shots didn't fall, so it is. What was it? Were they not ready to play?
That was Derek White's message a few moments ago, that they just didn't play hard enough. They lost the 50-50 balls. I think rebounding comes into play there. I don't know how much you guys ended up talking about that aspect
I love with that.
after I left, but
they
that was
killed
a
them.
massive area where they lost this game. And I think
that's where X-Man
definitely
became unplayable tonight.
Yeah, I think you definitely saw some offensive flatness from them, I'd say. Like, they definitely settled a lot on that end. Dallas did a much better job taking the paint away. I think when Brown and Tatum went in there early, they were swiping away at the ball pretty effectively, especially against Tatum. Josh Green had a good defensive stint on him where he's really just trying to dislodge the ball there, forces a turnover. You had a couple other efforts, I think, by Derek Jones. Interesting, too.
Yeah, Derek Jones is good.
You had a moment there where Derek Jones got in Tatum's face, and I think PJ Washington was the one talking at practice about how there's going to be some altercations, right? Like, they got to, come face-to-face with these guys, and they did in that moment. No text or anything there, nothing really came out of it, but you saw them try to go to that place, too, here. And I know you were a kid who made a pretty concerted approval of Luka's defense, which I thought was there in a much better way in this one as well. He definitely deserves credit for his two-way effort in this one. This is exactly the kind of answer he needed to a lot of the criticism he's gotten.
Yeah, no question. And I just think that was that matters. When your leader is putting forth the right type of effort on the defensive end of the floor, and you're getting guys in transition, and a couple of times where those deflections that kind of knocked Jaylen or Tatum off their balance in a way, I think that just carried over, and the Celtics just didn't respond. They never had that type of tenacity or that aggression.
What's going on with Holiday tonight?
Holiday I barely saw him.
Yeah,
brutal.
Ineffective.
Booty.
It was brutal. It was bad, man. And I think that's a good point, Bobby, that, Dallas taking away the paint really took away what the Celtics were doing before with the passing, the ball rotation, stacking up all those assists that happened in game 3. I mean, that's when the Celtics are really clicking and really hard to defend. And Dallas was just able to take that away.
I think they were looking for the home run play too, guys, right?
After they got down big, yes, I think so.
After they got down.
They had a couple shots. I think White hit a 3 at one point. Hauser hit a 3. Holiday hit a 3. So those little moments, you're like, all right, under 20, under 25. They cut it a little bit, and can you make something out of that? And they never could. Yeah. They'd always just shoot themselves in the foot, try to do too much, throw the ball away, give up an offensive rebound. I think at one point in the first half, Dallas had missed 4 threes that they turned into second chance points off offensive rebounds there. So you got a lot of breaks. They took that Exum 3 off the board at one point there, and then he got it right back. I thought that there was a run to be had in this game from Boston that they were never able to muster. And it is weird. Again, the message across the board here was that Dallas just played harder, showed more urgency. White got asked at one point, can you replicate that urgency of a team down 3-0? And he said, you really can't. You try your best to, but you can't. So that's the strange thing about this one, is that they just didn't get up for this game. You could have seen them losing this one, certainly, but to not like really show up at all is I wouldn't say concerning, because this could just be a one-off, but it definitely opens your eyes a little bit. Like, what was that? That was very strange.
I mean, again, if you believe in momentum, which I don't really, but if you believe in it, you gave some to Dallas, because now they're feeling good about
Dallas repeat
themselves.
Here?
Well, here's the thing is, here's where the momentum comes in. In the first 3 games, Dallas had to feel really bad, thinking there's nothing we can do. Now it's like, oh, we might be better than these guys. So they might have a different sense of it, but the reality is they're not. And the reality is also the Celtics haven't had a good shooting game yet. And
well, you know what blew my mind tonight?
A 45% 3-point game is somewhere lurking out there, and this could be one of them. So, again, the Celtics have not unleashed the beast yet, and sure, Dallas is playing them, is not making it easy for them on offense. It's just the Celtics' defense had been so good. And tonight it was a little bit leaky. And
the defense was carrying them in this series for sure. That's a good point, John. I mean,
it was a little leaky tonight. Yeah,
they haven't been themselves in the sense of putting in that one game where you're like, man, they can't miss from 3, or man, they've been super efficient. I mean, Jaylen's been that guy. Jrue Holiday had a heck of a game back in Boston, But, collectively, I thought that the best version that we saw was in game 3, because and it was triggered by the defense. I think that's what really made a difference, especially with the Dallas Mavericks just unable to just find any rhythm. But in this game, the Celtics never responded the way that they have. Dallas Mavericks, they've had a similar first quarter in the series, but nothing like that. That was their best one in the entire series. And then you look at the way that they were able to hold the Celtics to, 14 points in one quarter, 17 in the next. I mean, by the 3-minute mark in that third quarter, Joe Mazzulla said that's it. He started waving the white flag, which is something that he's done before. And he just knew, look, these guys don't have it. I mean, there's no way that they could muster up some kind of comeback. So you might as well just save it up, look for the bounce back game that they've done historically throughout the entire year, and have an extra day of rest to really get back to the team that they've been this entire postseason for the most part.
I think some of this was bad shooting, certainly. They missed quite a few. There was a 5-pass possession at 1.2 where Brown missed in the corner. But 3 things do concern you here because they are advantages Dallas potentially had coming into this series. Luka being Luka. That certainly happened tonight. Those Hauser, Pritchard, Horford efforts we talked about coming in, those all disappeared tonight. He just torched all those guys on the ball. But then you look at the rebounding. That was an advantage for Dallas coming into the series. If they haven't flexed yet, that can continue. And then you look at the role guys. They weren't that bad. They did nothing for 3 games, absolutely nothing. And now they all collectively did something. So maybe just half those guys do something in game 5. That's a lot more than they were already getting here. Again, I'm not trying to drum up that Dallas can get back into the series or win, but you open the door for them to do something. Like they're actually putting forth a representative effort here now.
Yeah, but every game without Kristaps Porzingis is closer to a 50-50 than it is with him, and that's the problem. And so the thing is, though, can you string together 4 of them? And that's the unlikely aspect of a comeback is it's hard to do that. But every time when you tip it off, it's closer to even than it was when the series began. And that's what scares you a little is, yes, today was losable. And then so was game 3. And so is game 5. And so then all of a sudden you start to put yourself in a shit. Well, you don't want to go back to Dallas situation and on it goes. We're going to hear from Jaylen Brown.
It always happens, though.
We're going to hear from Jaylen Brown. And look, what happened with the Mavs? They went up 3-0. They lost a game at home with a chance to close out. And they put themselves in a weird situation because 2 out of the next 3 would have been in Minnesota. Then they go on the road and they wipe out, the Wolves there in 5. So again, the momentum doesn't matter as much there. Before we get to Jaylen Brown, who's going to talk a little bit, Jimmy Toscano has a message for you guys, especially those of you who might be headed to the Garden for an actual game. Tons of people at a watch party
has something to do with merch
wearing these types of things. The Celtics Instagram handle today put it out with a guy
Instagram
center with a hard hat.
TD Garden's tweeting out the hard hat pics. So.
Guys, it's pretty cool that our faces are just like plastered on that thing. The fact, the way they've been selling like hotcakes. Look at that! That's great, man.
So a lot of people are saying that this is like the new unofficial symbol of this playoff run. It's a good way to to rep your team, rep your podcast. When you see this on somebody, you just know. You just give them a nod, like you're a Garden Report guy, aren't you? You're a Garden Report guy. You're a Garden Report guy. I can tell. I can just tell by the hard hat on your head.
You know the vibes. Yeah,
it's like people with like like Priuses used to like nod at each other, and then
well, the Jeep wave. Bike
riders, cyclists do that all the time. It's like you're riding a bike, I'm riding a bike, and you get that little nod.
Joggers.
The hard hat. People,
hey man, keep it up.
Everyone's listening to podcasts all over, but you never know what someone's listening to. But if you have this hard hat on, they're listening to the Garden Report. You're repping the brand. You're repping the Celtics. Now, listen, everyone knows the number 1 rule about wearing the hard hat. At least my number 1 rule is you do not put the hard hat on after a loss, especially after a loss like this. As much as I want to wear this hat tonight, and
this is the least hard hat game ever.
You're right, Bobby. This is the least hard hat game ever. But
this was like a swim cap game.
Yeah,
right?
So the hard hat doesn't get worn tonight.
As soon as Mazzulla emptied his bench, you got to take it off.
It pains me to say that, but if anyone's interested in buying one, it's not too late. We just put some more up for sale today. It had sold out. The hard hats are back for sale. The sooner you order them, the sooner you will get them. I don't know how long this series is going to go. Hopefully it doesn't go too long, but if it does go, you might have one of these in time. Certainly, if there's a parade involved, knock on wood, if we get to that point, I'm not trying to jinx anything. This would be a hell of a thing to wear at the parade. I'm not telling people that you're going to get them by a specific date, but they are shipping out pretty regularly. A lot of them have been ordered. I want to thank everybody who's ordered them. This has been a lot of fun. This is like, again, this is kind of like the symbol of this playoff run. Go to the merch store. You got your hard hats here. We've got T-shirts. I got the logo tee on right now. Garden Report logo. There's your face again, Josue.
There it is.
We got the phenomenal T-shirts, phenomenal hoodies, phenomenal bucket hats. You can just do a whole phenomenal everything. There you go, Sherrod. Sherrod's repping the phenomenal. So there's a lot of good stuff over there. But the hard hats are going fast, and I'm not just saying that. They've sold out multiple times already. We can't make them quicker than we can ship them. These are made in.
Damn, Sherrod. You packed all that shit?
These are made in-house.
I was ready for there to be a lot of champagne popping, so you've got to think, how am I going to cover the suit?
They're made in-house. Awesome. They're artisan.
Sherrod's a veteran.
Yeah,
they are artisan. Yeah, they're organic.
They're ready to use that joint as a poncho.
These are actually grass-fed hard hats too.
Artisan hard hats. Yeah, exactly. No hormones, no antibiotics. These are
somebody on Twitter asked me if I would do a helmet shoey if they won tonight, meaning would I chug a beer out of the helmet? I didn't respond either way. I was gonna just decide in the moment, and I don't have to do it tonight. But
that's a good answer, Jimmy.
This could actually double if you were looking to like Das boot situation, Das hard hat. This might actually get the job done too.
Yeah. All right.
Think about.
So check it out for real. They are actually selling out. Like
they are. They are. It's not a joke.
We're almost shocked, and I'll show you again. Look at this. Oh no, we got that one. I want the ones the Celtics put out, guys.
No.
Look at this.
It's coming right now. It's coming right now.
This is TD Garden. TD Garden
put this out.
Yeah. Look at that guy. I think it might be the same guy. He's just like he puts the hard hat on. When you like, he's probably a nice guy, but once the hard hat goes on, the inner beast kind of comes out within.
This was a TD Garden thing. They picked the guy with the hard hat because he's the friggin' baddest looking dude out there.
Yeah, that's it.
That is epic.
That is epic.
That was that guy used to be a nice guy. He put the hard hat on completely.
He's
changed.
an animal now.
He's a monster now.
It's like when you grow a beard, like your wife is like, I don't even know who you are anymore. You know, like that guy is different.
He's like, sweetie, it's the finals. Yeah.
Get away from me. The hard hat, the hard hat stays. You go.
You've changed. Something's different about you. Oh man,
honey, you're so different since you put the hard hat on.
I'm only putting it on just for show. I would never wear this after a performance tonight. But just because they lost tonight doesn't mean you can't prepare for the future.
All right, so let's hear a little bit from Jaylen Brown. These guys need hard hats next game. Here's Jaylen talking about what he's hoping is going to be a hard hat performance in Game 5.
Situation for the first time of on the verge of clinch a championship. How'd you feel like all of those lessons you've learned kind of felt in that moment?
He says hard hat.
It's a great opportunity to respond. Give credit to Dallas. They came out and they played with force and they played great. So we regroup, we keep our same mentality, and we come out and get ready to fight in another battle on our home floor. We learn from it. We take it. We don't dismiss it. We're gonna learn from it. We're gonna see how and why, exactly where the game was won and lost, and then we take those experiences and then we come out and we play like our life depends on it, because it does.
What's the most important lesson you learned from tonight's game?
I'm not sure as of yet, but we're gonna watch it. We're gonna learn from it. As of now, we just got to be better. Got to meet their intensity. It's the NBA playoffs. It's the NBA finals. So looking forward to the next one.
Thank you, Jaylen.
So I do want to ask you guys, like, they were trying to do some of the things that they normally do. It just looked like they weren't able to get where they wanted to go. They were having a tougher time funneling. I put this one up already. I put it up already.
Did?
Yes, I did.
I missed it. What's up, Isabel?
What's up? Hey, hey, Isabel. Hey,
I got plenty more hard hats where that came from.
We're gonna have to look at it, and I am looking forward to rewatching this and seeing kind of like what Dallas did differently. But it did feel like they were kind of, I don't know if they were, sending the. I put this one up too.
All right, just you talk. Just talk.
I noticed more aggression.
More aggression. Was it just better point of attack defense, or were they funneling the Celtics into different places where they weren't able to get it? I know they were clearly jumping some passing lanes on the obvious kick out there, because the Celtics I mean, it's predictable because it's worked, but when you're not beating your guy clean off the dribble, you're not sucking in the defense, and that outlet pass to the corner or wherever you want to get it on a drive and kick isn't there as well. So maybe it was just simply that they were more competitive at the point of attack, fewer blow-bys, and made it a little bit, tougher for the Celtics to get. It didn't feel like the Mavs were in rotation nearly as much as they have been in the first 3 games of the series.
Celtics weren't as patient as they normally were. I thought that they really didn't allow the offense to kind of come to them and just keep probing for the best shot, as opposed to taking pretty good shots that were contested. And then they never really quite got into any kind of flow of rhythm where they were just running their offense and getting great shots. And give Dallas credit. They did a good job, I thought, defensively. But I thought part of that good job was because the Celtics didn't execute or exude the kind of patience that we saw in games 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, definitely, Sherrod. And that's something that Jaylen talked about in the first half of game 3. And I thought that version carried over the entire game instead of the Celtics coming out at halftime and switching things up. But then again, the deficit was so large that I don't even think the Celtics were able to find their offense, because when Dallas came back out here for that second half, they kept pouring it on. So yeah, I thought that it was a lot of that as well. Just settling for whatever the defense was giving them instead of trying to move the ball around. Dallas was trying to make these guys work harder, and I feel like the Celtics just didn't meet that challenge on the offensive end. They try to kind of find shortcuts instead of just really fighting for each possession and making sure that they get better looks.
There were some moments early too. I feel like they let Dallas off the hook. We talked about coming into the game how they never let any team's weak defenders off the hook, and Tatum especially, I think, takes some of the blame for that. The pull-up threes just that weren't it tonight. They haven't been it for much of this postseason, and I think you let Luka off the hook at one point. He pulled up for one over Kleber, which didn't make much sense to me. So those shot selection early, I think, an issue. Ball control in the post, making quick decisions, rim reads out of there, big issue. I thought they missed a lot of layups here. So a lot of it does fall on the Celtics. Dallas definitely ramped up the intensity here, but the Celtics didn't execute well offensively, I thought, here. And, Sean Grandy was pointing this out throughout the game, and it really is amazing to me. Maybe it shouldn't be because of how big of a blowout this was, but the Mavs have more points in this series after tonight. It's 408, 402. So they flipped that total score of the series tonight was one effort, which is pretty amazing. And it shows how close this series is so far.
It legit means nothing, and it's not close. It legit means
to this point.
It legit means
to this point.
It means nothing. It doesn't mean anything. And again,
all right, Celtics gonna win in 5 on Monday.
No, I'm saying the aggregate points means nothing. The Dallas potentially winning more games is possible. Them winning the aggregate points doesn't matter at all. At all. It really doesn't. The Celtics have controlled the majority of most of these games, with the exception of that 20
to 2
like
the All-Star game rule
run in game 3. Right. So I'm not super worried about that. But people will use that to say, they're not even winning the aggregate. This team's not that good. And I know that's going to get said. But whatever.
Who's going to say that? I've never even heard that before.
Well, Grandy said it, and now Bobby said it, and now it's becoming a thing.
Here we go.
The Celtics had one
soccer.
before this game. They had
just like that
3-1.
They had one bad quarter though. Pretty much. If you look back at all the games,
that's what
they
I
had one bad quarter.
18
and then
minutes
tonight they had 3.
Yeah, they were bad. Anyway, who else was bad? I don't know. Numbers. We always argue about whether the strangest conversation we have on the Garden Report is when Jason Tatum doesn't play well, arguing about whether or not he played well. It is really odd, but we will have that conversation a little. But first, we're going to hear from Jason Tatum at the podium after the game, being fairly positive about what's to come.
Said next time you're out there, you got to play like your life depends on it, because it does. You recently said in an interview, if you got back to this point, you would do whatever you needed to take to win. After a loss like this, I'm curious what your process is meant
to get him, Jack.
And moving on.
That's Simone.
Yeah.
Hook him,
just
Jack.
Not to harp on it too much. It happened. We can't change what happened tonight. We always say you lose by 2 or you lose by 30. Right? They all count the same. But we do need to be better. We're not making any excuses. We need to be better, and we will. We will be better.
On the game on Monday, Game 5, what do you expect the Garden to be like? What would it mean to you to clinch on your home floor that night?
I think it's going to be as loud as it's ever been in my 7 years of being a Celtic.
excited to go back home, celebrate Father's Day on Sunday, and compete for a championship on Monday. So it should be a lot of fun.
That's great. You know who doesn't get to celebrate Father's Day?
Who?
All of us who have to go friggin' cover these guys.
John's so mad because he's like, man, I had this whole weekend. You know,
All of these guys
who
have to go cover practice on Sunday, which is us, and then go to the Garden and for Game 5 on my daughter's birthday. My daughter was born on Father's Day, by the way, my eldest daughter, which is really cool. But yeah, no, it's cool. I'm glad you guys decided not to play tonight. Not mad.
Ruined
not
everyone's
mad.
weekend.
Not mad.
They wouldn't have done the
my brother,
parade
my
on
dad.
Sunday. They would have done it on Monday, right?
I'm not mad. Yeah.
It's just, it's just your day, but you're not mad, right?
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, was Tatum good or was Tatum Bobby?
Your kids weren't planning anything for you.
Or Jimmy, I'll start with you. Well, Bobby, Tatum good, Tatum bad.
No, he was terrible. And he was a big part of the rim reads here.
Wow.
I mean, what can you say? He was the one losing the ball, losing control of the ball in the paint a lot of the time here, taking the bad shots. Again, I made a case for him as Finals MVP as the tone setter, and him as the tone setter tonight didn't come through. So that's out the window now with a performance like this. It's not going to happen. He needed to be the closer in this game here. The opportunity opened itself in Game 3, and tonight he just wasn't decisive enough. Got stuck under the rim, lost control of the ball a lot of times. What was that possession where he just got stuck and just tossed a grenade to Hauser? Hauser had to dive on the floor and risk injuring himself.
I don't know.
To get the ball back.
I was a mess. I was getting cake at the time. Yeah.
Is that when you went to get your slice of cake?
John has spent more time with chocolate cake than he spent watching the game today.
I watched it. I'm just so annoyed.
Well, after Joe,
you know what? That's the worst.
Don't blame me. I would have been right there with you.
Sorry, Josue. Just watching it in a road arena too, because we're in the stands and listening to all these assholes be happy, just and knowing that there's no way out. It's really hard to endure. So I just I'm taking a walk. And
was Cubes dancing around? Cubes?
I didn't see Cubes. Josue, sorry. What were you gonna say?
I haven't seen them all this entire series, but no, I was just gonna say, Tatum wasn't good. He wasn't good at all in the sense of just having control of his offense. I just think the Dallas Mavericks really disrupted him. Those swipes, he would turn around, there was a wall there. He tried to make these passes that were off the mark. Some of them were like in traffic as well, and Jaylen did a couple of those too, where it's just like, why did you think that was going to go through? You know what I mean? Like there was a very head scratching passes, lazy passes, if you will. And I just feel like his approach was as if like it was all going to just start clicking at one point. But the Dallas Mavericks, man, you have to credit them. The way they defended. They've been doing this all series, but I think what really disrupted him this time around was that he was unable to kind of find those leak passes, those whether it was like those slick behind the backs or find someone in the corner. They sealed off all of that, and I think it really made him hard. It really made it hard for Tatum to be a playmaker.
And don't you think they're celebrating John when he pulls up from deep with a mismatch on him?
Oh, that's what they want.
And at one point,
on Luka, he draws a switch on Luka and pulls up for 3. That's ridiculous.
Then he tried it on Gafford and got blocked and picked up his fourth foul.
He did it on Lively or on Game 3. That's not what you want there. You get those guys in space. You got to get by them.
Right. Exactly. I hate when he does that because I feel like he thinks that it's gonna destroy the defender. You know what I mean? Like it's gonna oh no, now we're gonna lose the game. And I really do think it. I think he thinks that not only does it get him going, that it's gonna discourage the Mavericks, but that stuff's not gonna work when you're down by 20. You know what I mean? Like that's when you do stuff like that when it's a close game.
I would like to believe that, but I'd like to believe that, but I actually think he's just not getting by them.
So he's settling. Yeah.
Yeah, when he makes one move, 2 moves, and he hasn't gotten a step, then you can see he sets up the step back the rest of the possession. He'll first try a little shake and bake, and he'll try to get going. When he doesn't have that, he pulls it back and he's setting up the step back. So it's more failure. Like I can't get by this guy, which is a shame. And the drive and kick is getting predictable here too. I do think.
Yeah, man, they're all over that.
They're all over it. They were jumping the lanes, and at certain times you got to try to take the friggin' layup, or
Or floater.
or the floater, or the 4-footer. Like, look at what Kyrie did.
Jrue was killing them with that.
Oh,
earlier.
Jrue was just missing around the rim for sure.
What?
Yeah,
well, I mean, like before tonight, like that's been killing the
killing
Mavericks.
them,
Couldn't do it tonight.
They didn't get any of that tonight, so it was weird. It was weird. There's somebody. It might be the same guy in the chat who keeps saying this. I don't know that that's the case. He's exactly the right size someone his frame should be. He is not too big. This is what happens to men. They just get bigger. He's not monstrously big. He's still a lean dude who's put on.
I feel like that's
muscle.
the biggest misnomer about him.
It's such a silly thing to say. He's still extremely lean and agile. He did not get too bulky. It's not like he showed up like
He's
this
a bodybuilder.
like this
walking around like
monster,
arms
right?
that he can't move. Like
It's like totally normal for a 26-year-old guy to look like that. He's not
Paul
too
went through
big.
it.
too strong.
Paul was he had a point in his career where he needed to do that, and we saw the difference, especially
He gained 15 pounds.
Look at
Around
every
28,
NBA
29.
player, their rookie year and then year 6, they become men. They just get bigger. It's everybody. It's
Full
such
beard,
a
all that.
He didn't get too big and ruin his jump shot. It's
Tell
so
me you
silly.
haven't worked out without telling me you haven't worked out.
Yo, for real,
He's
that's a
too
good
big.
call.
He can't
We
move
talk
it.
about it. We talk about it all
He
the
doesn't know how
time.
to use
too.
his body. He's too strong. It's like,
Why would he do that?
Like,
Right.
He's a good shooter,
found
but
whey protein.
the 3-point shot was a criticism or a concern for him coming into the league. So I guess it's not a massive surprise that he's had some of these ups and downs there, and he takes difficult shots. We talk about it all the time, and some of it I know for a fact is because they want the defense to be
He's
crapping
huge.
themselves when he's pulling up from 3 up there and chasing them out and allowing other guys to break free. But when you're making bad reads at the rim, when you turn the ball over, when you're doing all of those 3 things, taking a few too many questionable shots, because you can get away with it, John, when you're doing everything else right. Like when they win and he plays well, you don't sit there and say, oh, he took 3 stupid shots from 3. It's just part of the arsenal. It's part of how he has to keep them honest in different ways. But it does look worse in a game like this where he's not doing everything else right too. And it seems like he is a little passive. So, I'm putting this one on him. He had a clunker. If he can bounce back in game
and Brown
5,
was
it won't
terrible
matter.
too. Your top 2 players were no-shows. They were terrible. Bad decision making, bad rim reads, not effective, not shooting it well. Just bad, turning it over. Bad.
I think
Would Horford have 1 shot in this one? I think that's
He didn't
emblematic
even-
of anything.
A single shot.
Yeah.
Oh, he had 1. Okay, yeah, but he didn't have 1 throughout
But
the
he
first half.
freaking
The entire
made
first
it.
half.
When your offense is functioning right, he should have more shots than 1.
Because he usually has at least 3 or 4 of those corner threes wide open that he's able to release. Yeah, it's a good point. But no, I was gonna say I just feel like the Dallas Mavericks with everything that went down after Game 3 and going into that practice, they went back to the basics. They went back to just looking at film and just rebounding, effort, spacing, all that stuff. You could see a big difference in their approach, especially on the defensive end of the floor, and that's what. Jason Kidd, I think, had a lot to do with that, in the sense of getting Luka to really commit on that end. He started off by putting those quotes out there, sort of calling him out after Game 3, saying he has to figure this thing out. And I think he worked with them, obviously in the film session and with the starting 5 and with guys coming off the bench. He played 11 guys in that game. I think they all sort of thought to themselves, well, if we all can just chip in a little bit, all of a sudden
we do something other than nothing.
All of a sudden we'll have a bench, and that's exactly what it looked like. But does that mean that they're deeper than the Celtics? No. Does that mean that they're a better team? Absolutely not. But the Celtics have to respond in a big way, like they have historically. Going back to Boston, another closeout game. I mean, look, this is the first time Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have ever had a chance to literally win a championship. They were 2 games away in 2022, and that was the line over and over again. This is the first time they actually went into a closeout game and didn't look great, obviously, but they have to bounce back. And I think that's an experience that's going to play a big part in the way they do that in Game 5.
We know Tatum's going to bounce back. We know Brown's going to bounce back. Those key guys.
You don't think
period ever?
We don't know that. That's the thing. You don't know it. But you feel
at some point they're not going to.
Look, man, Tatum's been kind of not elite offensively for good stretches of these playoffs right now. He's definitely He's definitely struggling. And again, the numbers will look good and gaudy at the end, but he's not had.
I'm not talking about Monday, John. I'm talking about by the end of the series.
We don't know. You're hoping so.
If they don't, they're going to lose.
No, they're not, because they have superior talent everywhere else. And again, you can't say this without sounding like it's an insult to Tatum and Brown, but it's like they're not winning in spite of those guys. They're winning because they have everything else. And it's really relentless and difficult when they're all playing, at or close to their capabilities. There's really no respite for the other team. They just keep coming at you because they're great two-way players. They can all shoot the ball. And when things are going well, it can really just absolutely swamp another team here, where you don't need one guy to just turn it all around. But yeah, you're always worried that, like, okay, crap, we're getting another offensive clunker here. Anytime your best player or leading scorer is struggling to get looks or to get, or to shoot or to score, that puts a greater burden on everybody else there. And then there's a bit of a trickle down, and you don't want to see it when your top two guys both lay an egg like Brown and Tatum did tonight. And then a Holiday White was a complete. Everybody collapsed. Everybody collapsed tonight.
I was gonna, because Josue mentioned this game doesn't signify that Dallas is deeper, and I'm pretty confident Brown and Tatum are gonna bounce back at some point. I guess it's not a lot.
The team bounces back. I'm not sure Tatum's gonna come out and have an awesome game next game. I don't know that it matters.
Well, I'm looking at the bench here because they did take a hit tonight. The Tillman thing stopped working. Hauser got hit hard. For the first time in this series. He was surviving out there to this point. He was contributing. We got a lot of praise from pregame, but this might have knocked him back a little bit. And then Pritchard, you didn't get much from him here either. And
they subbed him out immediately once he got stuck down in the paint.
To just see the wave flow in the other direction toward those role guys is obviously something to watch. And sometimes that sways at home. I feel like that hasn't been the story of the series to this point. But that is something to watch here, is that Dallas's role guys all woke up. Boston's all came back to earth in a big way here. And then you add the fact that you probably know you're not going to have Porzingis at this point for the rest of the series. So that front court question is going to linger from this point on, how you try to piece those minutes together. Fortunately for Horford, you have the 2-day rest here because you're going to need a lot of them in Game 5.
But that was the one thing I mentioned before you got on, Bobby, is I didn't say this in the pregame because we were just like gushing positivity, but like that was the one thing I was slightly worried about, is Horford playing large minutes, and it's the first time in this finals where it hasn't been 2 off days, and what that would be like here. And it was particularly tough. What was that squeaky?
I don't know, man.
Backing up.
It was particularly tough when the Tillman experiment failed tonight as well. That put a lot of extra burden on Al to play those.
Can
minutes.
I say his name?
Who?
Do you give Luke a look?
No.
Oh,
It's so
John immediately goes, Kata?
get him out of here.
it's so obvious that this isn't. Yep,
Oh,
that's
look what you did
exactly
this
it.
for,
You
Rod.
did.
Look what you did this for, Rod.
I'm going to say no. I'm just asking.
Look what you did.
Yeah,
No, I'm good.
we'll say no for you. We'll say.
Yeah, I think you go back to Tillman. You
Yeah.
have to. He's the only
We'll
guy who
see.
can switch.
The other thing that happened that didn't happen, that isn't necessarily a thing, but it might be a thing, is that Porzingis was available, but Joe made it very clear prior to the game that he'd be used in limited or special circumstances. And again, I think
Bobby's on the scent.
Bobby's tracking this one down.
What did you find, Bobby?
Was everybody super mad, or did anybody talk about it?
No, but I don't get it.
I get it, but I don't think he's playing. And I anybody out there hoping like, well,
If he can't play.
He almost played in 4, so maybe he'll play in 5. I don't think this is not the type of injury where he's going to get better in a day or two. If he couldn't play today, he can't play in Game 5 or 6 or 7. You're winning this title without Porzingis.
But why is he active?
Because, Bobby, we keep saying this. If they swept, it doesn't matter. You can put him on the bench in uniform, trot him out there for a minute if they were winning the championship so he could feel a part of it. There's no downside
It's a
to it.
mental thing.
He
That's
can
what I
wear
was thinking.
street clothes on the bench or a uniform on the bench. It doesn't matter. He's active just because, but he's not there to play. What's Udonis Haslem ever been active for? Like he's just there in uniform. Sorry, buddy. But like
All right, maybe I just don't understand the significance of that moment coming in at the end.
Playing in a championship clinching scenario and having the crowd cheer
He's
for
not
you.
Playing though.
He would walk out there in a non-injure yourself sort of way with no expectations.
Yeah, you messing with him? I feel like Bobby's messing with you.
He's trolling. Bobby.
No, I just don't understand it.
No,
what
but
don't you understand? It's sentimental, Bobby. It's
Yeah.
like
You used to
if
play
we
here, you know.
it's like if you know you lost your voice and we trotted you out here on the show just to like wave to the crowd. Why is Bobby on
Would
the
I
show?
be on the show if I lost my voice?
He can't talk.
Would I just
if they won the championship?
Bobby, if it was
Would bring you out, Bobby. Yeah, would bring you out. Would you know? Probably crack a few jokes and then would send you on your way.
I couldn't crack a few jokes. My voice
we
is
would at your expense.
We will. We'll do it for you.
He's trolling.
Point is, Bobby.
Okay, I guess when you put it that way, it makes a little more sense.
He wants to see John just blow a gasket.
We've been trying to say that for a while.
All right, well, let's just leave it at this because we were speculating and trying to figure out what was going on pregame.
No,
we thought
everybody
maybe
was in the same boat, but you were
John,
speculating.
you said that you could try him in 3 minute stints.
No, I said either they're going to try him for a short stint or he's a human victory
Yeah, we were
cigar.
trying to figure out what was going on, but
So
now
it
we
was
know
obviously
for a
the
fact he's not coming back.
Bobby, if we boiled it down to two possibilities, it was obviously the second one.
So now we know he's not going to play the rest
He's
of the
not
series.
playing. I think this is clear indication. This is the main point of this. He was never intended to actually play. I can't believe he's ever going to play. There's an off chance that he is if you get to a 6 or 7 and you're like, that you might try it and hope for the best in a like, let's throw it all out there because it's desperation. It's the last game of the season. That might be the only place I see it. Otherwise, I don't think he's playing.
All right. Well, now we know.
Yeah, I think the Celtics are worried about long-term damage. You know, I just think that also going into this game, you're up 3-0. It's like have him on the bench. If there's a celebration is about to take place, he can go out there for a little bit, something like that. But I just clearly, for him to go through his pregame routine and all that, and still not even see the floor when the Celtics were in desperation mode, just trying to find anything in that offense, and you don't see him, that's not a good sign.
There's another possibility. There's also
it's a bad sign.
There's again another possibility would be we're up 3-0 and I'll see if I feel like playing him or not, but I'm probably not going to. And they looked at this game and they didn't like the way it was going. And he thought, hey, the minute or two I thought I might try him in different places. Well, I don't see the point in it here in this.
Did Joe get asked about it?
Bobby, how is it different than Blake?
I went to Kid and Luka.
How is it different than throwing Blake Griffin out there? It's the same shit.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. Blake Griffin wasn't helping you by the end. They still would have trotted him out there, maybe, and victory lap.
I don't get it. I'm not even gonna go down that comparison.
The only thing I don't get is what you don't get. It could be a couple of different things.
Help us help you.
But I don't think it's a major thing. I think it leans towards the likelihood of him actually playing is small, but there's still a chance they do the same thing in Game 5 and maybe do try him a minute or two because they think he might be able to contribute. It's really hard to tell at this point, but it's a nothing to lose scenario. At worst, it was let's trot him out there if we win it, or it's possible that if I feel like I think I can get him into this game in a situation that would be advantageous, I'll try it. It's one of those two. Who knows what happens in Game 5? Yep.
Let me ask you this, Bobby. Picture this. Okay. Celtics are up pretty significantly in the fourth quarter Monday night. Porzingis is active. You don't get like the moment of maybe them subbing him into the game for like the last minute or whatever.
Makes no
somebody
sense.
out.
That makes no sense.
You can't figure out why that would be like a cool moment and something that maybe he deserves.
It'd be a cool moment, but it's still kind of stink. He couldn't play the last couple of games.
But is it better? Is it better than him not just going in at all? That's two different arguments.
Right.
But
he's been a huge part of what this team's been doing all year long. Clearly, he didn't play a much of these playoff games, but he's a huge part of he's a big reason why they're here.
So it's like a hat. It's like a hat tip to what we did before.
Absolutely. He's a veteran. He's a pillar. Yeah, man.
Starting to get
locked him down.
Yeah. It's exactly that.
A.
It's a hat tip. It's a hard hat tip.
Equals
Yes.
We're getting there.
Picture the moment.
Who's the common variable here? Yeah.
I don't want to.
Sub a guy out,
This
sub a guy in. Both guys get a standing O. The
This
fans
is-
go
I don't.
wild.
I'm wondering what this comment section looks
I
like.
don't
This
want to
is the
diminish
best
the moment.
conversation in the
Can't see it
history of
right
the
now.
Garden Report.
I let me just leave it at this. I don't want to diminish the moment, but he's not actually playing. He'd just be holding the ball as the clock ran out.
No, man.
He doesn't even need to touch the ball.
Why
He
is
just
this
needs-
even a thought?
He's just on the court. He's just
That's why he was
staring in the
active.
moment.
That's what we're saying. That's why he was active.
Is this? I don't even want to go there. I'm gonna go too far. Sorry.
Where could you possibly
Let him have his
go?
moment.
There's
Where could
only
you
so
take
far
this?
you could go. Yeah, like where would we go with it? Like
Where do
it's
you
literally
take
this.
It's
just
not a real
this.
moment.
It is
Real
a
moment.
real
If they're on the verge of winning the
actual
championship, that's a
It's
huge
actually
moment.
the
What are you
opposite.
Running out the clock.
It's actually creating the moment. You've created a real moment. By not
No,
doing it, it's
Sherrod's
not
gone.
a real
I
moment.
think he's really gone this time, man.
See, I don't want to do
I'm
this.
looking at
I
Sherrod.
don't.
Sherrod looks like a disappointed father right now. Like he's just exasperated.
I know
He's
that.
he's holding he's rubbing
I've seen
his
that look.
temple. Like I just don't know what I'm gonna do with
Bobby,
this boy.
it doesn't
I
always have
am-
to make
I am
sense
sad that he
on-
can't play again.
We're sad. This is making me sad.
This is a sad end to the show, I think. This is somber. This is becoming I'm about to go somber, boys, to try to get this point across.
This stinks. I mean, he was so great. He was a huge part.
That's a separate conversation. It does stink that he's not playing.
Wait, John, the balloons aren't falling right behind me right now. This is still a series. What are we talking about? And he's out for the series.
We know that, Bobby.
So why do we care
it's
about
a
his
big
minute at
development.
the end of the game?
Nobody
We don't really
cares.
care. We're just trying to make you aware of why it would possibly
I get what you're saying, but I don't get why it's important.
Who's saying it's
Not that
important?
important.
It's
You're
just
pissed
a
because
thing.
he's
It's the
active and not playing.
It's the explanation as to why he was active. Okay?
Who's
Okay.
number?
That's all it
Who's
is.
Bobby? Who's number 44 on the team? I forget. He
Springer?
played tonight. Is it important that he's active?
I guess he can play.
He doesn't play a part to why they're here in the finals. You know, Kristaps has a much bigger role. Like I'm not trying to be but I'm just trying to say like that's what they're getting at. Like
Yeah,
he's a big part.
I guess I'm
of
just
why they're
caught.
here.
I guess I'm just caught up in the fact that if he can't play at all the rest of the series, and that's very clear. Why are we doing this whole thing of is he? Because again, we're going to be at practice Sunday, and we're going to be watching him. We're going to say like,
Here's
"Ooh,
the thing, Bobby. You are well within your rights to not cover the story, but every time they trot him out there, there's the possibility that he's actually going to play. When they didn't play him, it kind of became clear that they were never super serious about playing him, which changes our thinking. We don't know. You react to what's happening. He practiced, he came out, he warmed up, he was active. Mazzulla said earlier he'd be used in special circumstances, which made you think sparingly, if at all. Then he wasn't used at all, which makes you think he was maybe only going to play a few minutes if they ended up winning as a tribute to him and all of that he did for the team. That's just where we've logically gone based on what happened today. Things could change in the next day or two, which might make us think that perhaps he's actually going to play. Maybe they tell us he was close. We would have played him if the game went different. That changes things. We can only talk about
Can't
what's
do that
being
anymore.
put in front of us. Yeah, that's it. But anyway, this was good. I'm glad we ended with this, because if it was something else, that would have been bad. But
I don't even know. I don't think we got anywhere. I don't think we got anywhere.
I don't think so. I'm gonna go down there. I'm gonna go down to where Bobby is with a whiteboard, and we're gonna draw this all
let's
up.
figure it out because
we
we'll figure
really
out
gotta map this out. Yeah, we gotta get on the same page.
Can we do this somewhere else?
Should we get Luka? We got a Luka clip. Should we play it?
All right, we'll hear from Luka, and then we're gonna go. Here's
I think we got
Luka.
a lively.
some good stuff.
That at the beginning of the series is first of all, and we're gonna believe till the end. So we just gotta keep going. I have big belief in this team that we can do it. So we just gotta keep believing. It's basketball. There's 5 people on the floor, so that's huge for us. Everybody play with a lot of energy, and that's how we gotta do it. We gotta think the same way in Game 5 in Boston.
Okay. The best thing about this Porzingis conversation is because we haven't settled it, we will continue it probably for 3 more days, which means you guys get more entertainment out of this We're not gonna be able to get to
the next update.
We're not gonna get to the bottom of it tonight. We are like the Celtics. We're a little.
I want to see.
We're
Like,
a little disjointed tonight.
can we do Bobby Cam on Monday? Like, just in case Luke KP does go in late in the game, I just want to see Bobby's being like,
just it's going to be a Tim Robinson sort of thing. Like,
yeah, like wait, what's he doing in there?
This, right?
He can't play though.
Can you do that? You know, like,
wait, he's just gonna stand there and like hold the ball?
I don't think.
I don't want to say any more about that.
I don't think he can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait.
Great reference. That's the look. Yeah.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
All right.
All right.
He used to be a basketball player, Bobby.
I don't even. What's he doing out there? Bobby's gonna be the one guy in the Garden booing when Porzingis goes out there for his like wave. You know.
The game's already over. Why are you putting him out there? You don't need his services right now.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Why did we talk about him at all? Why did we waste our effort wondering what was going to happen with him?
Look, guess what? We're going to do it again.
We're going to do it again.
It's going to happen Monday.
On Father's Day, John.
On Father's Day. Bobby, that's going to be bitter me is going to be like, yeah, you're doing a friggin' Kristaps segment. It's going to go exactly like this, and that's how it's going to play. Okay.
All the boys are back in town for Monday's Game 5, huh? All of us. We're all going?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Jimmy.
Everybody here?
Everybody here.
Love it.
Jimmy, I'll do what I can. Jimmy, I'll do what I can. I'm putting in a
going.
special exemption credential for you on Monday.
I'll be giving a standing ovation to Jimmy coming in the door. That's what I'll
I'm going
be
to try.
excited
I'm going
about.
to take Nick's, and I'm going to give it to you.
Ooh. Is
Nick's
picture on his?
Nick's seen enough.
Is Nick's picture on his? Because that might be difficult.
Yes. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it, guys. On what was a sad day and a sad ending to this game and a sad ending to this show.
This was a sad girl segment.
This was
This
great.
is a sad girl segment for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, there might be some sad girls out in Dallas right now, boys.
This was both the best.
Not today.
Game 5 Monday at TD Garden. We will be back. Keep it with us. We got to tell you, we're going to ask you favors here if you haven't done it already. Subscribe. Invite other people to subscribe. We are on our main channel. We're very close to 40,000 subs. We're really close to 30,000 on our Celtics All Access. That stuff helps us a lot. So we do want to grow our subscriber count here. And when you subscribe or tell people about it, tell people like, hey, check out this show. You might like it. That's great. We appreciate it. So again, give us some likes, subscribe, share it with your friends, tell people that we're here. We'll be back with more coverage, I'm sure tomorrow, but certainly on Sunday, we'll be back at TD Garden covering the teams. The whole crew is going to be there on Father's Day, listening, talking. What's Luka doing? Yep. We're doing it all day. That's what we're going to do.
You know, Kyrie will have something to say. Kyrie will have something to say.
Yeah, and these guys are going to be bumping up. So again, thank you guys for hanging out with us in a loss. It was it actually made us feel better. It's therapy for both parties, I hope. And yeah, it'll be all right. The Celtics got absolutely cooked tonight in an embarrassing way. Hopefully, it's the worst game you'll ever see them play. This group in their lives.
Even if there's a fire.
Yeah. And Game 5 is going to go one more. We're still hashtag one more. And again,
one more.
You can still get merch with the hashtag with the code one
can't.
more.
Yeah,
what?
what,
That's Jimmy? You blew it up? Oh.
Maybe since you said that, maybe we'll reactivate it for a day tomorrow.
All right, we'll reactivate it for a day tomorrow. Jimmy's in charge of all of this. Thank you guys again for watching. There's going to be more coming out. Special guest here on the Garden Report late night edition.
I think he's lurking here. Is there someone behind the curtain?
They can't see it.
I think he's gone.
Who is it?
KOC. Kevin O'Connor.
Oh boy, there's a lot of people that have a bone to pick with KOC.
Because he is not holding up his end of the bargain as a Celtics fan, as far as people are concerned.
Gone
here.
Full heel. He
full heel.
I think he picked 30.
Rock
I think he picked
spines.
29 other teams in the NBA to beat the Celtics in the playoffs.
Yes, he did.
So,
and they're not truly a great team, and he's gonna have his say tonight. So that's up. You
don't
also
let him off the hook. Tell him Jimmy said don't let him off the hook.
Yeah, you can also check out First to the Floor as well. Those guys are going live as well right after the Garden Report. So check that out. Bobby is going to be with KOC and another cast of characters here with Garden Report late night edition. So much more basketball talk to go in. to get you through the rest of the night. If you feel like having more, we'll provide it for you. That's what we do. Until then, we will see you guys, let's say Sunday, but certainly after the game on Monday, because that's what we do. Post-game shows. We put on our hard hats every single day, every single night, and we show up for every single game.
Putting them on for us. I'm putting this on for us.
Yeah. So
you can do this too.
We're there. We will see you guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Wait, Amit's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game.
Phenomenal
Horford's out. I think it's an option. That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair.